What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, February 2nd, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. We have some major breaking news coming in this afternoon. So, apparently, the U.S. has moved multiple B-1 nuclear capable bombers from the U.S. to the U.K. last night, and now these B1s are on their way to the Middle East, and they could be ready to deploy weapons against Iran and its proxies as soon as this evening Eastern time. And this is being confirmed by U.S. defense officials. Apparently, they told Sky News Arabia that B-1 bombers left the Lakenheath Air Base in Britain on a mission towards the Middle East. Okay, so we are now going to be using the B-1 bombers in this campaign that the Biden administration has described as a weeks-long campaign that will involve multiple countries. They're going to be targeting multiple countries, okay? And these B-1 bombers are nuclear capable, all right? These bombers were built during the Cold War as a supersonic nuclear bomber to deliver nuclear weapons against the Soviet Union, but now they mostly use them for conventional bombing missions. However, they can easily accept nuclear weapons still. They're just not officially deployed as part of our nuclear arsenal anymore because of the START treaty that Obama signed with Putin. We denuclearized them, but they can still be upfitted for nukes at any time. But we are now moving multiple supersonic nuclear capable bombers to the Middle East. We could see massive strikes this evening on Iran, on their nuclear facilities, on Iranian proxies in Iraq and Syria. I told you guys this was coming months ago when this whole thing started in the Middle East with Hamas attacking Israel and the war in Gaza. I told you guys that it was going to escalate, and we are now at that point, okay? So you don't move multiple B-1 bombers to the Middle East for no reason, okay? We also had amateur radio enthusiasts who were able to record one of these bombers coming over the Atlantic and talking to an air traffic controller. I'm going to play the recording for you in a second here, but this is being confirmed by a U.S. Department of Defense official. They told Sky News Arabia, Sky News is a British news agency, that B-1 bombers have left Lakenheath Air Base in Britain on a mission towards the Middle East. And we also have Malcolm Nance. Some of you guys may know who he is. He tweeted about this today, and he said that this means that the bombers could be ready to deploy bombs or various munitions, cruise missiles, against targets as soon as 0400 local. Okay, so that would be about 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time this evening. Okay, so I'm going to be doing live coverage. Now, we have breaking news that came in yesterday evening that the U.S. was waiting for the weather to clear over Iran. Also, they were waiting for the oil markets to close today. Okay, so the oil markets are going to be closing soon. Once they close, that's when all hell is going to break loose. The U.S. is going to unleash a massive campaign that could last for several weeks. Okay, several weeks. This could be as big as shock and awe, or even bigger than shock and awe, especially if they go after the nuclear facilities. The fact that they're moving B-1s into the region tells me that this is going to be bigger than just targeting some IRGC compounds, that this is going to be a strike inside of Iran. And that's why they need the B-1 bombers, so they can get close to Iran and evade air defenses and deploy long-range cruise missiles that can strike deep into Iran and penetrate their air defenses. Okay, I told you this was going to happen. All right. I want to just play this video for you. This is a recording from an amateur radio operator. He captured the B-1 coming across the Atlantic, and what you're looking at here is the flight path of this B-1 as it was coming across the Atlantic. You can see it's right off the coast of Spain here, but let's listen to this.
Cost 1-1 for the radio. Radio, cost 1-1, second in 19, block 22.
And the call sign of this B-1 was Cost 11 or Cost 11. Very interesting call sign.
We are 2 minutes prior to 4413 north, 024 west.
He says 4413 north. That's the latitude. Sounded like 0423 west. Basically giving his coordinates to the air traffic controller.
Confirm match fast 4413 north, 024 west at time 12.
4413 north, 024 west. Sounds like
241, Beckham. 13 north, 024 west at time 12.
Yeah, 024 west. So you guys can punch that into your Google Maps and you'll see where this thing was when he made that transmission.
41, Beckham. For Cost 1-1. Cost 1-1, flight level 1 and 0 block 220. And can you confirm the position after 4413 north, 024 west? For Cost 1-1, the next position after will be 44 north, 023 west.
44 north, 023 west. So I'm assuming that means 23 degrees west, 44 degrees north.
We'll be at 1250 Z. 4330 north, 022 west. Next will be on an AR track with longer flight.
Not sure what that means. He said on an AR track. I'm not sure what that means, but
Cost 1-1 for the radio. Radio, cost 1-1, second in 19, block 22. We are 2 minutes prior to 4413 north, 024 west. Confirm match fast 4413 north, 024 west at time 1241, Beckham. For Cost 1-1. Cost 1-1. On flight level 1 and 0 block 220. And can you confirm the position after 4413 north, 024 west? For Cost 1-1, the next position after will be 44 north, 023 west. So we'll be at 1250 Z. 4330 north, 022 west. Next will be on an AR track with.
so there you guys have it. B-1 bombers going to the Middle East. Also, a U.S. nuclear-powered attack sub was spotted arriving in Spain today. Apparently, it was the USS California, a Virginia-class submarine with the U.S. Navy, and its abbreviation is SSN 781, Subsurface Nuclear 781, if you want to look it up. But this is a nuclear-powered attack sub that just arrived in Spain today. Here's actually a picture of it arriving at the port in Rota, Spain. There's a huge base there in Rota, okay? So the U.S. is preparing for a massive campaign. This is very, very serious, guys. This could go sideways. This could escalate. We'll have to wait and see what happens. They could go after Iran's nuclear facilities. Several months ago, U.S. Congress passed a resolution almost unanimously stating that the US will not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons, and they will use any means necessary to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And they will also authorize allies such as Israel to use any means necessary to stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. So this could morph into a strike on Iran's nuclear facilities, on their navy, on their missile sites, okay? Because you have to remember the Iranian Navy is involved in the attacks in the Red Sea. The Iranian Navy is helping the Houthis, and also the Iranian Navy has been seizing oil tankers, and also the Iranian missiles are being used by the Houthis. And then you have the Iranian nuclear facilities. Okay, so all of these could be targeted with the B-1s. Okay, so very serious situation. I want to show you the weather situation over the Middle East. You can see that low pressure system that was over Iran yesterday is now gone, and you can see the sky is clearing over Iran. There's still some clouds here, very light clouds, but the bulk of the low pressure system, which dumped a lot of snow over Iran, is now over Turkmenistan. The airspace over Iraq and Syria is totally clear, no clouds at all, and we are seeing a lot of clearing in Iran. So this evening, there could be the first wave of strikes. Now, remember what John Kirby said the other day, the National Security Council spokesman here in the US. He said, the first thing you see won't be the last. So it's very possible we may see some light strikes initially. And just when everyone's going to think it's over, then they're going to crank it up and really start pounding all these different targets, okay, in Iran, outside of Iran, nuclear facilities, proxies, whatever, okay. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, but the weather has cleared out. And remember what I reported on 2 days ago, that a source from the U.S. Department of Defense told CBS News that they were waiting for the weather to clear. Okay, and let me just show you the weather yesterday over Iran. This was last night. Look at how thick the cloud cover is over Iran here. Basically, all of Iran covered in thick snow clouds. This is not good if you're going to be launching airstrikes, because you can't see anything through those clouds, especially if there's snow. If they need to use satellites, either visible or infrared, to check certain targets to make sure that maybe there's no civilians nearby, or for battle damage assessment to see if they actually hit the target. If you have clouds, you're not going to be able to do battle damage assessment, okay? If the clouds are gone, we can use the satellites to see where the hits were, and if we need to go back and hit again because we missed or whatever, okay? And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you have to go to preparewithNYPrepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life and includes over 2,000 calories per day. All of this food is stored within 6 rugged, water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. And My Patriot Supply is also doing a 30% discount on the Vesta self-powered indoor space heater and stove. With this thing, you can safely heat and cook indoors. You don't have to worry about carbon monoxide poisoning. You don't have to worry about burning your house down. It uses special canned heat, and it comes with 24 cans. Each can will last you 6 hours and can warm up a room of 200 square feet. So to get the deal, also go to preparewithNYPrepper.com. And also, My Patriot Supply has a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival items. To get to that store, you just click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page, and it'll take you to their general store. And they have all different kinds of discounts here on various items. They have they have MREs, they have water filters, they have potassium iodides, fire starters, anything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply and 30% off of the Vesta indoor space heater and stove. So things are really getting serious. And right now, we do have a U.S. nuclear war command and control plane in the air, just one, which is very unusual. Okay, so it is pretty quiet, unusually quiet, the calm before the storm, I think. We haven't really seen a lot of nuclear war command and control planes the last 3 days, which is very weird. And this tells me that they're flying with their transponders off. And apparently, Britain is not going to be participating in the U.S. retaliatory strikes against Iran and Iran backed forces. And according to Israeli media, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin held a phone call last night with the Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant. Very interesting timing, considering that yesterday the Israeli government was sending out emails to citizens telling them to prepare for extended power outages of 2 to 3 days because there could be a war in the north, and potentially the Hezbollah forces may strike Israeli infrastructure and try to take out the power. Okay, and I reported on that late last night. If you didn't catch that video, I recommend you go back and watch it. Someone from Jerusalem sent me an email uh, saying that they got an email from the Israeli government telling them to prepare food, water, medicines, and all kinds of things because they're anticipating a war in the north. And then just last night, the U.S. Secretary of Defense had a phone call with the Israeli Minister of Defense. And the Israeli Defense Minister said today during a visit at an Israeli army mountaineering unit in Mount Hermon that if Hezbollah thinks that when there is a ceasefire in the south, it will cease fire and we will stop, it is making a big mistake. I'm saying it straight here: until we reach a situation where the residents of the north can be safely returned, we will not stop. When we achieve this, either through negotiations or military means, we can rest easy. Okay, so he's saying that they're not going to stop until Israelis that evacuated from northern Israel are going to be allowed to return back. They're going to do whatever's necessary to get them back to their homes. And Israel launched a second round of strikes against Syria last night in southern Damascus. Apparently, they eliminated a senior IRGC official. So they launched 2 strikes on Damascus last night. The second one is the one that apparently took out this IRGC official. And apparently 20 missiles were launched from southern Lebanon towards the northern Israel town of Kiryat Shemona earlier this morning. This was reported by Israeli media. And the Houthis are now threatening to cut undersea cables in the Red Sea, specifically fiber optic cables. And the Houthis tried to fire a ballistic missile towards southern Israel earlier today. The missile was intercepted by the Israeli air defense system Iron Dome. And the UK has deployed another warship to the Red Sea to deal with the Houthis. The HMS Richmond, a Type 23 frigate, entered the Red Sea yesterday through the Suez Canal, and it's going to be joining the HMS Diamond, another British warship, and several U.S. Navy ships, including the Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group. And Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and French President Emmanuel Macron apparently played a key role in convincing the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, not to block a $50 billion aid package to Ukraine, according to Politico, actually 50 billion euros. Okay, so that aid package already passed. The EU aid package for Ukraine already passed And Ukraine's recent sinking of a Russian warship in Crimea, the Ivanets warship with drones, was apparently historic. For the first time in history, a group strike by naval drones guided by a satellite destroyed a warship that was sailing on the high seas in full combat readiness. So, historic strike by Ukraine. And Putin said that the latest Russian weapons surpassed those of NATO. And he said this today while arriving in Tula on a working visit. And Dmitry Medvedev, former president of Russia and Putin's butt buddy, said if any NATO country provides its airfields or quarters or its troops to Ukraine, it will become a legitimate target. Okay, so airfields, quarters, or troops to Ukraine, it will become a target. North Korea has reportedly once again launched several cruise missiles off its western coast into the Yellow Sea. This was late last night. And since the early hours this morning, Dutch farmers have blocked the border with Belgium in the Breda direction with tractors. And the list of countries with farmers protesting in Europe is growing. We have Germany, Romania, Portugal, Belgium, Ireland, France, Italy, and Greece. Okay, so the farmers' protests are spreading across Europe. But that's the latest breaking news that I have, guys. Get prepared. Things are about to get crazy. Several B-1 nuclear capable bombers on their way to the Middle East. They could be ready as soon as this evening, Eastern Time, to deploy weapons against Iran backed forces or Iran itself. Remember, this is going to last for several weeks, okay? So anything could happen. Iran could retaliate. They could go after our oil fields. That's why the U.S. waited for the oil markets to close, because if they go after our oil fields and they do it over the weekend, it's not going to have as big of an impact on the oil markets, okay? But that's something they can do. They've done it before. They did it a few years ago. They've launched missiles into Saudi Arabia and took out a bunch of refineries. They could do that again. They could launch cyber attacks. They could activate sleeper cells in America that can attack our infrastructure. I mean, there's so many things that could happen here. So get prepared, guys. I'll be back later on this evening, most likely to do live coverage. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I post these updates. And until later this evening, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.